this. All right, let's talk about the moves for today, right? So XXII, right? Why did I tell you guys to overnight this? Okay. Why did I tell you guys to overnight this? Again, you guys can see it's a pretty clear cut on this, right? Pretty clear cut on this XXI move over here. We have it's a micro floater, low daily average, right? XXI daily average volume yesterday was around 70,000. So it's very, very low. And then we also had some bit of news. Okay. Glenn, close out DPRO then. Right? You should not be red over here, guys. Okay, guys, look, if you're in the trade, we're green together. If it drops down, you don't have to wait for me to tell you guys to get out, right? Just close it off accordingly, you know? Same thing if it's like green and whatnot, just let it go up, whatever, ride it. Okay, so anyway, for XXII, it was a great overnight, right? From 6, all right, 6.XX doesn't matter because we're looking for that big move, right? We're looking for that pump, right? That low, the micro floater and low daily average pump. And we got a great move to $11 this morning. Why? It's because this three had, I mean, this is the holy grail, you know, having these three together. Plus, I think yesterday in after hours there was really nothing moving. Honestly, there's nothing moving. Even right now, if you look at after hours right now, only Tello is actually moving, right? Only Tello is actually moving, but everything else seems kind of slow. So all in all, it's a very slow after hours. And that was the situation we had with XSI yesterday. And because of how much potential this thing has, it was the only best overnight ticker to take. All right. And so yeah, so for me, I'm gonna talk about DPRO. So you see, for me, for DPRO, again, see, for me, I was trading my setup over here for DPRO, right? I was trading my setup over for DPRO, okay, right, in the morning. I wanted to see whether we can get a 7 AM pump over here for a bigger push, right? But unfortunately, what happened was at the same time, VLCN was actually going nuts. You see, I did not see this because again, I was running my errands, but VLCN was going nuts. So we couldn't have that volume from DPRO to go. And that definitely changed the makeup for this, right? I mean, if you look at DPRO today, the spread's very big. There wasn't a whole lot of volume on this as well. Right, it was a very nice trade, but there wasn't a whole lot of volume on this overall. You know, because it was very, all the volume was in BLCN, right? I mean, it's not common you see a ticker go from like 9 to 59 just like this. Yeah, but all the volume was in VLCN, and it was definitely okay over here. You know, maybe when this thing breaks down, it might be even better. But the moment this thing start shooting up like that, man, that's just like gone. And I'll explain to you guys why later. Okay, but yeah, so DPRO, um, I wanted that, I wanted that move. Okay, but we never got it, so I decided to close it off. Right, no point holding on to this. Right, it's pointless holding on to this. Okay, because you see, it went all the way down. Sure, it did recover to 7 plus, but again, right? Always remember when we trade what we see. Okay, it's because we do not know what's gonna happen next. So whatever you see, your lows over here, I have my stops underneath that, I closed off. Right? There's no need for you guys to think about what's gonna happen later because you have no control over it. Okay, so just take it as face value. Trade what the chart shows you right now. Whatever happens, if it starts recovering and stuff, then you can get back in. It's fine. Right? It's completely okay. All right, so now next one is the next trade that we have, or the one that I really took, was BSLK. Now, BSLK was actually great as well, right? It was actually great as well. We had a nice little quick trade on this 340 break, 330 break, 430 break, sorry. Right? We had a nice breakout over here. Nothing crazy. Price retested this, went up to 469, but 460 remained a big key level as well. Now the thing about these type of plays is that none of these tickers really have news. It's just like run of the news pop. So you see over here, it had news, it had volume. There was no news over here, and then it started ramping up. So you see, it's very arbitrary, right? At least if this thing has news, I would have more conviction to hold on to this for a bigger push. And at that point of time, I think pre-market was very slow. VLCN was way too expensive. I don't want to touch it. All right, BSLK, low floater, no news. Very similar to VLCN. Remember, back then VLCN did not have news, right? We didn't know that they had that 500 million whatever thing going on for them. So I was kind of hoping for us to kind of get that move on BSLK, which we got, right? But you see, every single time this thing tries breaking out, it just keeps getting stuffed, right? It tries breaking out and then the volume fades off. It tries breaking out and then the volume fades off. So that's why over here, when we got a downstream breakout on this, right, I took my position over here at 340X, right, and stop loss on the 380. Now I wanted to stop out because of how slow it was. I wanted to stop out over here on the 390. I raised it on the 390, right? Initially speaking, it was 380, but because of how slow it was, because I was afraid of it was going to pull out the same thing, I decided to raise my stop down to 390 instead because it was way too slow, right? But when we tapped the 390 level, there was a very nice liquidity fill about this view up over here, and its price started to really want to ramp up 430s. We almost had it. We almost had this move over here, right? I wanted to see this. Oh, this is what I wanted to see, right? I wanted to see this over here. We almost had it, but guess what? At the same time, fucking VLCN dropped the news, and then the volume just completely stuffed BSLK. I'm gonna look at the timing over here, right? Look at this. This is just bad timing. This is just like unlucky as hell. So over here we got this timing was 8:55. Okay, for BSLK, right? That move happened over here at 8:54. You see that? 8:55, we started going the fuck down because VLCN had the news. I'm honestly inclined to think if VLCN did not have that news, this could have went crazy. Because remember, there was nothing else running in pre-market. Was there anything else? I don't remember. It was really only this. That's the reason why going to open, I kept telling you guys I was only going to be watching this and BSLK because there was nothing else, right? And these BLCN decided to have that volume and push up. Now look, how much volume do you think you need, okay, to push a stock to jump from 26 to 59 like this? It's crazy amount of flow, right? It's crazy amount of flow. Imagine if we had that for BSLK. But it happens, right? Stuff like this happens. And because of that, I closed out my position because I did not want to get caught up in a dump. And he decided to make a move after that, after VLCN went down, because it was still holding structure, right? At the end of the day, it was still holding structure. But so it decided to make a move after VLCN came down. But it happens. For me, I make the decision to close my position over here because I was afraid that VLCN might continue going crazy and this thing will continue dropping all the way down. Key thing is I took my profits. I do not want to let it go red. Right? No matter how big, how small, I'd rather be small green than break even or small red. Think about this. Right? I'd rather be small green than break even or small red. Right? And I'm saying I'm saying this in the sense that I do not know what's going to happen. There's a high chance that this thing may go down. If it goes down, then I choose to give up my small green position, right, for either break even or small red. And I don't want that. Okay, so obviously this needs to be recovery, but I wasn't about to chase it because first off, this doesn't have a catalyst, right? And you can see, right, it pretty much presented itself. What kind of move it was providing for you. And there was nothing. It was just more of a pre-market mover. Okay, yeah, but it was very unfortunate. I really do believe that if VLCN did not have that move to the upside, BSLK would have gotten that move earlier, right? That was definitely gonna be BSLK's moment to shine for sure. At least at that point of time, right? At least at the point of time. Okay, all right. So next thing is Tron Lotus. Now, good look, guys. Look, when I say something has Lotus, all right, it's because for me, I want a hold on, let me check on this. Let me check on this first. I haven't really checked the country for this. I know this is SPAC merger review because of the Tron coin. They changed the name. Sorry, it was a name change, right? It wasn't a SPAC merger. It was a name change. We had a pretty nice strong base at $10 where we started to gear up as well. Now look, for me, I was in around 1180s over here, right? Stop loss was on 10. Now, since it's a lotto for me, I'm not too concerned about whether this thing goes, because this thing did go up to like $12. I don't care. It's a lotto for me. I want this to go, at least go to 15, 20, 30, 40. If not, I'll close out on the 10. All right. I treat it as a lotto because I don't see the need for me to, I don't see any proper structure over here, but it might have tickers with name change might have that crazy X factor that starts pushing this up. So that's why I took it as a lot. All right, that's why I took it as a lot. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that it's a great setup, right? It has potential to run, yes, but the setup was just okay. So that's why I took it as a lot. Right? That's why even on the move to like 12 plus, I don't care. Because I wanted 15 to 20. Yeah, I wanted 15 to 20. And then on this note, right? Price went down, I closed off the rest of my position. It was a lot of size play, so I wasn't too concerned about it. Okay? Right? So now DPRO, let's talk about the first script for DPRO. Now look, as we go into open today, right? Obviously, I wasn't going to be touching VLCN because man, it's gonna be an insane. All right, I felt like VLCN was already way too high. It was very different in terms of the price percentage move as compared to BM and R. So it was very it was just way too much, right? It was way too high. I wasn't about to mess around with this, right? It's way too choppy. You can see that how up and down. I did try a little bit, but then I closed off immediately. So whatever. Okay. So I decided to avoid VLCN. I decided to avoid the what's the other one? What's the other one? What's the other ticker? BSLK, because there was just no strength in any of them. So I decided to go back to the ones that were showing strength yesterday in after hours, but we haven't really seen that part of action on them for today. Right? We haven't really seen the action of them for today. Right? Because all of them was in fucking VLCS, you know what I mean? So, but this thing was still holding on to the in the higher time frame, 10-minute chart. Look at this. Okay. Shit. Okay, structure was holding very nicely off this trend line. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but using this as my pivot, 1, 2, 3, nice bounce. Well, so trend line was holding up pretty well, and we also had a downtrend breakout over here, initially speaking. Right, we had a downtrend breakout here. See that? Yeah, we had a downtrend breakout here. So nothing else is moving. I didn't want to mess around with VLCN. We did have an article yesterday saying that US is about to increase budget spending for drones and stuff. Obviously, maybe not this company, right? But Pentagon, right? It's about to increase low-cost drone production, and that was the reason why this thing had this move yesterday. Yesterday this thing had a move because of PR, but because of that Pentagon to increase blah blah blah, this thing had the after hours potential as well. So this thing did not break down. We retested the bottom trend line. Price was curling up. We have a downtrend breakout. Nothing else is looking the greatest in market hours. I wasn't about to trade VLCN. So once we got that downtrend breakout over here, okay, let's see. So moved over. What was this? Right? It was this. Once you got this downtrend breakout over here, I took my position over here at 630s. And my stop loss was under 580, 570. All right, 575. I was in a rush, so I just pretty much plucked some numbers that was close enough, right? And I took you guys to play around dips because of this downtrend breakout. Dip down to $5, dip down to $6. And we got a very nice move to 689, right? But because of this rejection over here, we have now a downtrend, right? 2 pivot points. We have now a downtrend over here that's forming, right? So price went all the way down, and then because of this, we do have another short term. And so remember, this trend line is my higher time trend line, right? Now, right over here, we also had a short term trend line. So this trend line over here tells me that, okay, you know what? If price loses this current trend, that means that the intraday structure is broken. Does it mean that it's bearish? No. But for me, if I'm looking for a trade, I don't want to be adding over here because the trend has broken down. So now what I want to see is whether it can still respect my higher time frame trend from yesterday, right? From yesterday. And we got it. Okay, we got it. We got that. Right? So over here, price bounced off. And then over here, we have an intraday downtrend breakout right here. Right? We have an intraday downtrend breakout over here. Now for me, I wasn't really looking at this because I was focused on ABV and BTOC, right? So I didn't see it. But when we broke through this intraday downtrend over here, right? it's a little messy. Let me show you guys. When we broke through this intraday downtrend over here, okay, I took my position. My stop loss was my stop loss was initially 635 because it was where the 50 EMA was at. That was what I was running the trend at the point of time, right over here. Okay, 660s over here, price went up. We had a nice move to sevens and stuff, right? Because we broke the downtrend. That was why I took it. Or we broke the downtrend. We broke the initial intraday downtrend. We broke the high time. We broke the intraday bigger downtrend. So there was a lot of like nice strength, a lot of confluence showing that this thing is trending very nicely over here. Plus EMAs were all curling up. All the EMAs were above VWAP as well. Very nice. Right? So we got a nice push to 710. Price went down, still based off the 50 EMA. Right? We're still running 50 EMA, and we got 730, but unfortunately 730 was a triple top. So it is what it is. Now, whatever happens over here, okay, listen, whatever happens over here is irrelevant for whatever happened over here right now, because all this over here is, like what I said, an intraday structure. What does intraday means? On the day itself. After hours action means that this is done. It's over. Obviously, the resistance level like 730 still stays the same because this is a level, right? But is there a new structure right now? Maybe we have to wait for it to form. So intraday structure like this is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. This is irrelevant, right? Even this is irrelevant. But my higher time frame trend line is relevant because this is not an intraday trend line. It's a high time frame trend line. Price may continue to go back down over here, right? And bounce off and go. We never know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? But this thing is still valid. So if it continues to hold on to this, there's a chance we might see a trade at it again tomorrow. But I think because it's also day 3 tomorrow, right? So we might see something over here. I don't think it's done, but do I think that it's ready right now? No. Right? So I want to make sure that it's not done and it's ready. Then I go in. If not, I'm not gonna go in. Okay, all right. So that's that, right? That's one of the reasons why I took DPRO. It was very nice. I think I basically just gave you guys the 2 reasons why I took a trade today, right? Multiple downtrend breakouts. And we got a very nice move. I wanted new highs over here. Maybe not today. Maybe it's gonna continue, so on and so forth. I'm gonna close the rest of my shares on the 670, right? But I don't think we'll see too much flow over here. Okay, I'm gonna keep myself green regardless. All right. So next up, there wasn't a whole lot today, right? There wasn't a whole lot today because of VLCN, like I said, right? I fucking blame that shit. ABVE was a great structure breakout as well. You can see that we had a very nice downtrend breakout over here. Sorry, this is the 5-minute. But we had a very nice downtrend breakout over here. See that? Oh, we had that very nice downtrend breakout over here. Like I said just now in the morning. Sorry, not during the midday session, we had price went up, pulled back under VWAP, double bottom at this 200 EMA trend line, and then we recovered the VWAP. That was where I took my position. Okay, we retested the downtrend, double bottom at this 200 EMA, all the EMAs are curling up, right? We reclaimed the VWAP. That was where I took my position on ABVE. And stop loss was 260. Why? Because that is where my 200 EMA was at. You see that? There's a reason, right? When I take a trade, I can explain it. I can explain to you guys, why am I doing this? What is my plan? And is it because I feel like it wants to do this? No, it's because the chart tells me that's where the price is more likely about to bounce, right? There's a reason for it. It's not just random, okay? So we had a very nice push, all right? And then once VLCN started to break down, then that's where we got this insane move to the upside. And I did tell you guys, right? So long as you fall into this 200 EMA over here, ride it up, relax, okay? Don't stress. And when VLCN broke down, we had a very nice volume rotation, pushing this to 383. All right, it was great. It was definitely amazing. Okay, so oh man, yo, watch the 350, 360 plus over here. This fucking flow is starting to happen again. Fuck. Okay, but yeah, you see what I mean, right? So over here, you see over here right now, the 200 EMA is at 320. Now you're risk free. your 200 EMA right now is risk-free. So you can pretty much just, either choose to close it out when it loses this or close it out when it loses VWAP. You could do that. You have the luxury right now, right? The power's in your hand. But at the end of the day, if price stays above VWAP, that's a very strong factor, right? That's actually a very strong factor, right? VWAP is a very key pivot to see if the stock's actually going to go crazy or not, right? So honestly, but I did get stopped out over here because 310 was from stop loss and price is recovering a little bit right now. You can see even if it's pushing a little bit, spread still not the greatest, right? So this is one of the reasons why in after hours I don't really like to. I can't really size in a lot, especially on plays like this with big spreads, because it can get very tricky. Alright, so I'll just play at smaller size and stuff for after hours. Okay, yeah. So ABV that was good. What else? So one more thing I want to address is MRKR. Now listen, whenever in the future, right? When I tell you guys to look for dips, okay, like this, the breakout play, you guys can take it as it is, right? Because that's how you guys should, that's what you guys should know what to do. But when I tell you guys to look for low track dips for bounces and we stop at 285, this is a good rule of thumb to have, okay? Now when price is that zone, you add it. Stop loss stays the same. If it bounces above from low trees to high trees, you take your profits, raise your stops to under 330. Okay? Right? That is one of the thing that you should do. Because if the price bounce, but it doesn't recover, okay, it pulls back down, there is no need for you to respect a 285 stop loss anymore. Reduce your risk. Raise your stops up. Right? And it will be quick. Right? Sometimes these plays can just be like that, and then boom, it could. But over here when it pops, at least trim some first to protect your position, raise the stops up to the bottom so that you don't have to take the entire risk again. Maybe you're break even on this trade. Maybe you're small red. Like you shouldn't be. You should be small green, right? Because you took 3xx, low 3xx, you hit 360. And even if you don't scale everything out, you should at least be small green over here. But it beats being red. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of rejection over here. It's not able to bounce off. It's not able to continue. You see that, right? So there's no point having your stop loss under 285 anymore when you can raise it up under you can raise up to under wherever you add it. Maybe if you add a 336, then have your stop to 330 instead. Instead of having 285, because that is a lot of cents. That's like 30-40 cents. And you don't need that. Then now you know that this is the key level, right? And if let's say you close your position over here, now you wait to see what it does at that 285 level. But clearly, there's no need for you to do anything because this thing just knifed through it. So if that's the case, settlement's invalidated, you ignore this. Okay? All right? So please, next time, because some of these plays, they move really quickly. All right? I can give you guys levels to play around, just like how I always do with the halts, right? If it stays above this, find your entries, find the dips, scale up, right? This is the same type of stuff. But I would say the only difference right now over here is that this thing does not have a news, so it wasn't very substantial, right? It was not very, very substantial. Okay, so I think that's it. I don't see a whole, because there wasn't really a whole lot today. All right, there wasn't really a whole lot today because of fucking, again, like I said, I blame I blame BLCN. There wasn't a whole lot, right? But it was good, right? We didn't trade too much. BTOT was great. Dogecoin treasury strategy. I think someone was asking me on voice. I said that I really like this a lot, right? Price was consolidating very nicely. I showed you guys the 5-minute. Price was bouncing off this 50 EMA very nicely. I'm not sure you guys can see it. Look at this, right? You guys can see my intraday. I used my 1-minute and my 5-minute chart, right? And then we started to trend up. We're actually just trending up, to be honest. And then once we broke through all the highs, then how high it goes depends on the market. But we don't lose trend. You continue riding it. Right? It was a very nice breakout structure. Play over here. It was especially good with VLCN and these breaking down. We get some nice little volume pushing through. I think once we can clear this over here, you see that, right? Hot rejection down. We cleared that. Price went up pretty nicely. Yeah. All right. And then from there, you just write the trend. That's it. Yeah. From there, you just write the trend. But I would say that wasn't really a whole lot today, to be honest. Again, because of VLCN. Let me explain this now. So look, guys, let me ask you guys this. When you see a stock like VLCN go from 26 to 59, any one of you guys over here will add it, right? Were any one of you guys over here going to add and stuff? Any one of you guys over here going to add and stuff? I'm not in audio what this rank display. I mean it's super low volume for me. Okay. Maybe it makes a run tomorrow, right? Has pattern news, low daily average volume. It could make a run tomorrow, right? It could make a run tomorrow for overnight. Maybe, you know? But see the news is spread over here is tough. I'll chart this later. But let me just talk about this VLCN for a little bit. All right, so you see for this one, okay, for this one, right? If you had an insane move over here, now what would you guys be thinking? This is gonna be in your thoughts. Man, I'm gonna wait for this to settle down so I can buy it for an insane pump to the upside because this thing has similar news to BMNR and NASDAQ that went to $100. And you are not going to be interested in anything else. You know what I mean? You're not going to be interested in anything else because most of you guys over here might be thinking, where can I find a dip over here so I can add it, right? And aim for this to go like what BMNR and NASDAQ did. And obviously, for me, I don't expect, I mean, I wouldn't have that mindset, but for people who are new, they might have that, right? And because of that, people may not take any action. They might just be fully focused on this. And, that's why today, if you guys realize there wasn't really a whole lot happening across the board. There wasn't a whole lot. All right, I didn't want to force much as well because, it was very, very slow. Right? I mean, not slow. Again, the market's not slow. It's just all the momentum, right? All people were just sitting on this, hawking on this, trying to see whether they can catch the bottom for that quick move to the upside, or maybe a second BMNR type move. Especially so when this thing happens so fresh, right? This thing happens so fresh, right? So people will definitely be looking at this. But you can see once people realize that what, this is fucking done. This is ass. Then they broke down. ABV started getting the volume. Right? And BTOX started getting the volume because VLCM was done. People started to realize that. But in the morning, no. Right? So that's why. Again, like if VLCM did not have that news, if that move didn't happen, our entire day might be different. The way we approach today might be different. We might have a lot more runs and stuff. Okay, but it is what it is. We have to adapt. Right? We have to adapt. Okay? All right, so let me answer some questions right now. What's your take on BZI? I don't like it. It's a very heavy floater. Right? Oh shit, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't like it. It's a very heavy floater, I think. 66 million float. I mean, it's great news. Okay, but I don't really like to trade heavy floaters. Someone that was talking about PYDN this morning. PDYN, sorry. I want to see how it does, how it did. Oh, it's a nice little grinder throughout the entire day. Alright, it was a nice little grinder throughout the entire day. Yeah, but I don't really touch heavy floaters, guys. That's something that I don't like. I don't like touching heavy floaters. So it doesn't matter. Unless I have no choice. This is also one of the reasons why I missed out on Proc last week. Because it was a 90-minute float. I never expected that to happen. But if I have no choice, then I'll start trading it. Okay, but it is a very, very slow after hours. You can see everything there's nothing moving, there's absolutely nothing. Yeah. Were you just busy not to alert DPRO first entry until 9:38? Just curious. No, I was waiting because the thing is now it's in already, right, at 6:30s. Okay, it kind of popped up to 6:50s. I did not really take any profits over here, but then when I start to see it stabilize a little bit, then I give you guys the entries because I didn't want to give you guys the entries when it was weak. At first, it was looking good. It was changing off a little bit, right? But then when it started looking good again, I was like, okay, you know what? I think it's worth it for you guys to take it. So yeah. How we're doing breakout on the sir, bro, what the fuck? Sorry, I don't understand what you're saying, man. Hello there. I don't understand what you're saying. How we're doing breakout on New High Day level there is point or too risky. What does that mean? You mean like how they break out on what? Let's say for example, you want to take a 753 break. I don't think that is how you should be trading. So it's risky for sure, unless there is strong momentum on the ticker. But like I said, today's momentum is very different because everything was stopped in VLCN. And then once VLCN let go, there wasn't really a whole lot because most setups were already dead. So even if volume comes into them, they can't really make use of it because the setup was already dead. So yeah. For BTOC, you see smaller size, what's the position? Oh no, smaller size for me is 80%. But for BTOC, it's a little different because I could size it very big over here, even though it's smaller size than usual. But because my risk was only 2 cents, right? 40s, stop loss on 38. It was only a 2 cents risk. I could size it a lot more. You understand? I was only taking a 2 cents risk over here. Right? What I said before, $3 risk, you cannot size it as big. $10 risk, you cannot size it as big. 2 cents risk, you can size in a lot of shares, but you still be risking the same amount. You know what I mean? Think about it this way, right? $2 entry, stop loss under 180, right? Obviously, it's not 20 cents risk, but for calculation, we use 20 cents. 20 cents risk, right? You can maybe afford 1,000 shares. But if it's a 2 cents risk, you can afford 10,000 shares. You know, because it's smaller. But the results, right, is still the same. Both, you will lose $200. Sorry, both you will lose. Yeah, wait, $200? Yeah, both you will lose $20. Sorry. No, $200. Yeah. Right. If it doesn't work out, you lose for the 20 cents risk. If you have 1,000 shares, if it doesn't work out, you lose $200. For this one over here, you have 10,000 shares. If it doesn't work out, you also lose how much? $200. Because this is a 2 cents risk. The other one's a 20 cents risk. So I could size it a lot more over here because it was very, very low risk. Not low risk, but the risk was very small. Understand? So even though it's small size, the risk was also very small. It kind of compensated for it. What are your thoughts about Tello? I don't like it. I don't see, guys. I don't like anything right now. I'll probably just wait for tomorrow. Because look, VLCN only happened this morning, by the way. It didn't happen yesterday. Right? So I'll be watching tomorrow. Maybe RDHL. I haven't tried this yet. We'll see. I don't like pattern news anyway. I feel like ABV is done. Like I said, keep eyes on this 350, right? Throughout the entire this line up here. What is this? Not 350, 355. Let's keep eyes on this 355 level. I think this is done. Something very suspicious. There's a lot of volume over here today. I don't like Tello. I haven't really looked at this. I think it's decent news and stuff, but I'll probably revert to this tomorrow and shit. Right? But you know, it is a very, very slow after hours, similar to yesterday. Yeah. Thoughts on low floater Bitcoin play are great cheapest Bitcoin miner in all-time down because of a pump and dump by Miss Tammy from StockTwits. I don't know who told you to say that. You know, this is agree cheapest Bitcoin miner near all-time low sounds like a fucking Xiaomi type play, man. Let me see. Looks like a Xiaomi type play. Is that? Let me see. Let me see. Who's talking about this right now? Oh shit! No one's talking about this. Uh, not every guy. Anyway, I don't know why you would think Agri is a Bitcoin miner when uh this ticker, originally speaking, company wise, right? As the name suggests itself, it's fucking uh shit, shit, farm products. I don't think I don't think this is a Bitcoin play, right? I know Mara, right? This is Bitcoin. I think it's gonna be like what digital capital markets, financials, right? Riot, um, financial capital markets, coin. Those gonna be the same stuff as well. Financial, right? We talk about MSTR. It's also gonna be this is technology software, but they accumulate a lot of Bitcoin. So I don't know, man. I agree it's fun for what I remember. It does have that link to it, right? It does have that link to it for Bitcoin, but I would say whether it's gonna hold or not, it really depends on the market. If there's no volume, then it doesn't matter, right? Because lows can still go lower. We always remember that. Just because it's the 67 cents is low doesn't mean this is the base. It could continue going lower. So you want to wait for volume, I would say. I'm not really a swing kind of guy, you know. You can see maybe it starts basing, right? Maybe your indicators tells you that this is worth taking for a swing right now. But my indicators are mostly from momentum day trading, so I'm might not be applicable over here. Well, you want you can watch it, all right? You want you can keep eyes on this, 60% at 44s. I took out like 30% at 44s. What about okay? Hold on 1 second. Can you look at FRGT? Not a fan. All right, I don't like the volume. Okay, not a fan. Maybe for tomorrow, we'll see. I'll put it on the watch list. Maybe for tomorrow. All right, then. Again, there's not much options for us anyway, so we just put it on this case. Maybe also keep really good. What do I not like about Tello? Would you rather have lunch with Benjamin Yo? Benjamin Yo. Can you look at FRGT? What hotel do you not like? No, the news is great, right? The news is great. The chart is okay. But I just don't feel like this thing has that explosive potential. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, but I feel like if anything, I'll probably like this better if it stays above 185, right? Because right now it's low, too close, and this is not really a low floater, so we might not see a big move on this. I much prefer something else. The news is great. The flow, not really not something I really like. But you see, I'm not really into flow in after hours anyway. I think if you guys realize XSI flow yesterday was pretty shit too. Right, but this one had the criteria of explosive move. That's why I was okay with overnighting this. Right, low float, low daily average volume, catalyst. Tello has a catalyst, not a low float, not a low daily average volume. Right, we could still see a move, but explosive or not, hard to say. How to set up stop loss should be 5% of buy price. No, my stop loss is based on the chart, right? Guys, I think I answered this just now, but you know what? It wasn't recorded, so let me just say it again. My stop loss is based on what the chart is telling me. Let's talk about this, right? Let's say, for example, you take a position over here, right? This is an uptrend. Your 5% stop loss is over here. Does it make sense for you guys to stop out here or to stop out underneath here? Who says A and who says B? Which is better for you to stop out of? A or B? Your 5% or underneath the trend line? Which one? It makes sense for you to stop out under B because that is your hey yo Avery, what's up? It makes sense for you to stop out under B because that is your trend line, right? That is your trend line. You see, imagine if you do this, right? Imagine if you guys do this, stops out, touch this, go up. I mean, that's just fucking dumb, right? You know where the trend is holding, you know where the trend line is at, you know where your support is at, you know where price is more than likely about to bounce. Why would you set your stops anywhere not below that? You know what I mean? Or not set stops, but have mental stop loss over it. Yeah, so if you say A, Kunle, that's wrong. Again, you want to trade the chart. Why would you let's say this, okay? Price is constantly doing this. Right? And then you add over here. This is the trend. Your 5% stop loss is here. Why would you stop out here instead of underneath here? you should stop out underneath here instead. Because there's a high chance that, price, you stop out here, price is this, and bounce off again. My stop loss is based on the chart. It's not because it's 5% of my account or 5% of my position, I take a loss. No. At least that's for my strategy. Maybe if you have a strategy that works out for you, then fine. But for me, it's based on the chart. That's also the reason why I size in based on how much I'm willing to lose, because it helps me more in tandem with the my stop loss strategy. ABV, did we break that? I wasn't really looking. I'm not interested. Just a super low flow, I don't really. No, we didn't. Look at this. Look at this 355. All right, it's also in confluence with the downtrend. Didn't break out from it. It's fucking ass. Heavy. No, the flow isn't as great. Yeah, the spread's ugly. It was after hours. Spread's gonna be ugly, and the flow isn't great. And this is a 50 million float. We did not break 355, guys. Look. And plus, this is also a downtrend too. We could, there's a lot. This is a huge level to clear. Right. So yeah, no. I think this is probably gonna be done and reset for tomorrow. If you only take out 30%, it's 24s, and if you stop loss, you might be small form green or even red. How do you manage my set? I mean, the mindset for me is that when I take a trade, I'm ready to take the loss. That's my mindset. That's why for me, I'm okay taking losses and stuff. I'm okay getting out because when I take a trade, I'm ready to take the loss. And you should be. Right? I always prepare for the worst. So that if the worst doesn't happen, man, I feel like I'm on cloud nine. Like I prepare for the worst. When I get into a trade and the worst doesn't happen, which means I don't get to stop out, even if I'm up being a little bit like, damn, I'm doing good. You know what I mean? Right? And if it squeezes, even better. But if it breaks down, I'm already prepared for it. Mindset was. Regarding the news that the House just passed the Genius Act, are you expecting a boom tomorrow or next week to event traders? No. I trade momentum. I don't really care what the House does to the Genius Act or whatever bullshit. I don't care about that. I mean, it's probably good in the long term, but short term wise, they're still going to be probably sell the news type stuff. There was a recent sell the news or whatever. I can't really remember. Right, VLCN. Right, Bitcoin treasury strategy. Right, look at this bullshit. Okay, I think guys, look, when it comes to small caps and momentum, don't try to pin it to macro news. All right, trade the chart, follow the volume, and that's it. You could look at Bitcoin. You can look at Bitcoin related stocks, like OLB, SBAT, BMNR, maybe even VLCN, or wait for some of the tickers to drop Bitcoin news, right? Because of the House passing the Genius Act. But if tomorrow when if the House passes the Genius Act, the Bitcoin names don't even move, and yet you see a 500% run on healthcare. I think it's very stupid to miss out on that. Small caps move regardless of what the case is. Okay, it's not really that much of obviously macro factors does play a part, but I do think that the Bitcoin sector is getting a little bit saturated. Okay, I do think that the Bitcoin sector is looking a little bit saturated. So even if there is some, right? Even if there is news on that, I don't know. Maybe you might get a news pump, but whether it's gonna sustain might be difficult. All right, might be difficult. Okay. So yeah, let me just look at RDHL for a bit. Uh, yeah, I think I like this if we can break 250 with strength. I'll probably wait for tomorrow instead to revisit this. because it's still pattern news at the end of the day. Right, it's still pattern news at the end of the day. I don't like pattern news. I think you guys need to know that pattern news are just not good. Okay, and again, it's just a very slow after hours. Okay, just because we have exercise overnight yesterday doesn't mean we didn't have one today. All right, but FRGT does have the potential though. I would say FRGT does have the potential. Let's see, there's news on this, right? Deploys AI powered. No, but this is no, there's no news over here. And not so much anymore. Yeah, I don't like anything for overnight tonight. I'll say different. Right, not every single day it's gonna be like that, unfortunately. But it's cool. Remember, VLCN move happened today. Right, VLCN move happened today. So maybe we'll get something else tomorrow. Alright, just keep in mind that's Friday. Alright. Okay, any questions, guys? Oh, Bizai. No, Bizai is too heavy for me. Eliza. Bizai is too heavy for me. I don't want to touch something like this. It's too heavy. I have to respect my plans. Sure, you know, like there might be an anomaly and stuff, but I have to respect my plan. This is way too big for me to trade. I don't want to touch it. Okay. What platform do you recommend for someone who is still beginner level? Hey, okay, guys, again, hold on. MAIA. All right. Look, if you do not want to hold on to this, close it out right now, or have your stops underneath 1.67, because this is my trend right now. Okay. Or you could keep it tighter if you want. All right. Either you hold or you close under 170. Okay? Either you hold or you close under 170. All right, for MAIA. What platform do you recommend for someone who is still beginner level? Where are you from, Reggie? Let me stop the thing.